Hello guys, and welcome back to Dude Recaps, where I've yet again brought you a fun movie recap. The movie that we're going to review today is a 1996 American fantasy comedy film titled Matilda. The film revolves around a super genius child, Matilda Wormwood, who develops psychokinetic powers and uses them to deal with her negligent family and her elementary school principal, Agatha Trunchbull, both of which had made her life a living hell. The movie starts with a cute newborn baby girl named Matilda Wormwood, who was born to Harry and Zinnia. Both are not really happy with her birth because, let's face it, babies come with expenses and they don't want to waste much of their time or money on her. And right from the start, you can tell that they aren't responsible parents. On their way home from the hospital, the baby frantically keeps sliding in the car boot. Harry and Zinnia Wormwood live in a very nice neighborhood, in a very nice house, but they're not really nice people. Harry is a car dealer who sells used cars at unfair prices, and her mother keeps herself busy by playing bingo. They're so busy in their own silly lives that they barely notice that their daughter is special, and has learned to spell her name. With the absence and negligence of her parents, Matilda even starts taking care of herself without ever complaining. By the time Matilda turns 4, she starts to cook for herself every day, while her parents are busy with their own lives. In her alone time, Matilda develops a habit of reading magazines in her house. She devours one magazine after another. Due to her love of reading, one day she asks her father to get her a book. Her father, being the cheapskate he is, asks her to watch TV instead of reading. According to him, TV is the best source to pass time. But Matilda hates to watch the rotten TV shows that her family watches all day long. If everything till now wasn't evident, Matilda now for sure knows that whatever she wants, she has to get it herself. So one day when her parents are gone, she looks through a book and finds the address to a children's library. She crosses the road herself and somehow manages to get to the library. At the library, she goes to the kids section and gets a book for herself. Since Matilda grew up deprived of her parents' love and care, she started getting comfort in the fictional worlds of books at the library. She becomes obsessed with reading, and from then onwards, Matilda develops a habit of going to the library every day after everyone leaves the house. Matilda is so smart that she reads one book after another, and is always in search of something new to learn. The librarian, Mrs. Phelps, who notices Matilda's fascination with books, helps her make her own library card. And then onwards, Matilda starts taking books from the library. While other kids of her age are busy playing, Matilda finds comfort reading books, which give her the comfort of not being alone. When Matilda turns 6, she asks her father to admit her into a school, but Harry refuses to do so because he wants someone to stay in the house to receive and sign for his packages. Her parents are the worst. And her brother isn't far off, as he also bullies Matilda by calling her names. That night, Matilda cries her heart out. She feels a dire need for a friend, but she only has her books and the characters in it to call friends. The next day, Harry comes home all happy and cheery. He's made a lot of sales today and wants her son to calculate his total profit for the day. Matilda, being the smart kid she is, calculates the profit within seconds. Both Harry and Zinnia are surprised to see her get the calculation right, but Harry believes that Matilda might have cheated and is trying to make them look stupid. Annoyed by Matilda, Harry threatens to punish her because, according to him, a bad person must be taught a lesson. A bad person must be taught a lesson, huh? The whole night, Matilda keeps thinking of the only practical advice that she ever got from her father. Matilda thinks to herself that bad people do indeed need to be punished. Ironically, the only bad people in her life at the moment are her parents, so she decides to punish them. The next morning, Matilda wakes up early and puts bleach in her father's hair tonic just before he's about to leave for his office. Harry always used to take pride in the way he looked, and thought that customers pay more attention to the looks of the shopkeeper rather than the products. Moments later, Zinnia and Michael flip out seeing his hair bleached that absurdly made him look like a clown. Since Harry was so invested in buying stolen car parts and making money out of it, he didn't notice that he was being watched by the FBI. One day, he takes Michael and Matilda to his shop, where Matilda finds out about her dad's scam business. Harry uses super glue to fix broken car parts and even reverses mileage counters to scam the poor buyers. Matilda keeps telling her father that his business is illegal, but Harry paid no heed to whatever Matilda said. Exasperated with her dad, Matilda lines Harry's hat with superglue. To celebrate Zinnia's win in bingo, the whole family goes to a fancy restaurant to dine in. Zinnia asks Harry to take off his hat, but Harry is unable to do so as it is glued to his head. Chaos is created in the restaurant as Zinnia tries to yank the hat off Harry's head. The celebratory dinner goes nowhere near what they were expecting, except for Matilda. At home, Zinnia somehow manages to get the hat off of Harry's head. Annoyed with his day, Harry orders everyone to do as he says. He commands everyone to eat dinner while watching a game show on TV. Really getting that family bonding time. Matilda doesn't pay attention to what he said and continues reading her book. Irritated by Matilda, Harry tells her to stop reading the stupid book. Matilda replies that it's not a stupid book and in fact it's a great piece of literature. But Harry doesn't listen to her. He rips the book off and forces Matilda to watch the stupid TV show that her family is stupidly enjoying. Matilda becomes increasingly infuriated being forced to watch TV, so she intensely stares at the TV, hoping it explodes. And it does explode, revealing that Matilda has a superpower. The next day, Harry makes a deal with Miss Agatha Trunchbull, the ruthless principal of Truncham Hall Elementary School, by selling a car to her in exchange for admitting Matilda as a student in her school and teaching her a few lessons on discipline. Matilda is excited and extremely happy about her first day at school, because she loves to learn. But to her surprise, the school is even worse compared to her home, because of its oppressive principal, Miss Agatha Trunchbull. Matilda makes some friends on her first day at school, who tell her about Miss Agatha's harsh treatment of her students, like throwing them out of the window and locking them inside a tiny room for the whole day. You know, kinda makes me happy that kids have iPhones these days. She even grabs one little girl by her pigtail and hurls her out of the school. I'm not showing that in the video, as I'm not sure how YouTube will view it, so if you want to see it, I suggest you watch the full movie. Moving on, Trunchbull seems like a person you wouldn't want to mess with. Thankfully, Matilda's class teacher, Miss Honey, is the exact opposite of Trunchbull. She is friendly and kind-hearted and makes the students feel valued, and appreciates every child for the way he or she is. In the class, Miss Honey is surprised to see Matilda answer middle school multiplication questions with so much ease. So she asks Miss Trunchbull to move her to a higher, more advanced class. Trunchbull instantly refuses to do so, thinking that Honey is unable to handle Matilda, so she wants to get rid of her. Matilda comes home and tries to tell her mother about her day at school, but Zinnia is busy gossiping with her friend on the phone. That night, Miss Honey visits Matilda's home to discuss with her parents about upgrading Matilda to a higher class. She is staggered to see the ambiance of the house and the way that Matilda is treated. She tries to tell the Wormwoods how brilliant and extraordinary Matilda is, but the Wormwoods show no interest whatsoever at what Miss Jennifer is saying. The next day at school, Trunchbull gathers the whole school in the assembly hall to punish a kid named Bruce Bogtrotter for stealing a slice of chocolate cake from the school's kitchen. She punishes him by asking him to eat a chocolate cake all by himself. When Bruce gets done with the cake, Trunchbull forces him to eat a giant cake made by a rather unhygienic school cook. Trunchbull is confident enough that Bruce cannot eat the whole cake, and after a while, Bruce starts to get tired and full. But then Matilda leads the students in cheering Bruce, and with all the students behind him, Bruce successfully finishes the cake. This annoys Trunchbull, so she gives all the students 5 hours of detention. After spending extra hours of detention, Matilda returns home and notices that her father is under observation by the police over his awful dealings. Matilda alerts her father about the situation, but her parents refuse to believe her. Next day at school, Trunchbull's car breaks down, and she realizes that Harry had scammed her. So she transfers all of the anger towards Matilda and locks her in a solitary confinement room called the Chokey. Annoyed by Trunchbull's tortures, Matilda's friend Lavender puts a newt in Trunchbull's water jug. While Miss Honey goes and saves Matilda, Trunchbull drinks the filthy water, and when she realizes the situation she's in, she yet again blames Matilda for it. Matilda tries to assure her that she didn't do it, but Trunchbull keeps accusing her. In the fury, Matilda telekinetically tips the glass over, splashing the newt onto Trunchbull, who leaves the class hysterically. Matilda tries to tell Miss Honey that she's the one who tipped the glass over. She tries to do it again, but fails to show her powers this time. That afternoon, Honey invites Matilda to her home. On their way to Miss Honey's home, Honey reveals a secret about herself. Trunchbull is actually Miss Honey's aunt. She tells Matilda that her mother died when she was 2, and her father, Magnus, invited his wife's stepsister, Trunchbull, to live with them and look after her. But Trunchbull, being the bad person she is, only abused her. Magnus died, seemingly by suicide, when Honey was 5, and leaving everything to Trunchbull. Later in life, Honey found a small cottage which she rented out for just $50 a month to get away from Trunchbull. She further tells Matilda that she left her beautiful memories, that is, the photograph photographs of her mother and father, and the beautiful doll, Lissy, at Trunchbull's place. That evening, Matilda and Honey sneak into Trunchbull's house to get Honey's treasures, while Trunchbull is not home. Unexpectedly, Trunchbull's car breaks down in the middle of the road and she had to return back home earlier than predicted. After creating a lot of distraction around the house, Matilda and Honey somehow manage to escape before Trunchbull could find them. Zinnia invites the FBI agents, whom she thinks are speedboat salesmen, to her house. Harry catches Zinnia flirting with them and asks the two men to leave the house immediately. Matilda discovers that she can use her telekinetic powers if she's being scolded or yelled at, so she starts practicing them at home. By channeling all of the frustrations she has endured at the hands of her parents and Trunchbull, Matilda quickly manages to control her power. One day, the FBI agents sneak into Wormwood's house without any search warrant. Matilda catches them and thwarts them away. That night, Matilda decides to go to Trunchbull's house once again to scare her off. She sets on her mission and finally reaches outside Trunchbull's house to find her eating chocolate from Magnus's chocolate box. With her telekinetic power, she manages to retrieve Honey's Leslie doll. However, in the process, she loses her hair ribbon in the tree. She succeeds in terrorizing Trunchbull with the help of her psychic powers. Trunchbull gets extremely petrified and is forced to leave the house. Unfortunately, Matilda's hair ribbon flies from the tree to Trunchbull's car, and Trunchbull spots it right away. The very next day, Matilda comes to school and hands over the Lissy doll to Honey, along with the chocolate that she managed to get from the chocolate box at Trunchbull's place. And just then, Trunchbull arrives and informs Miss Honey that she will be teaching her class today. Miss Honey is worried about her students because she has noticed the anger in Trunchbull's eyes. Matilda assures Honey that everything will be fine. It seems Matilda has a plan in her mind for Trunchbull. Matilda reveals her powers to Miss Honey, who is amazed to see them. Soon, Trunchbull comes to the class and asks all the students to stand in a line in front of her. She inquires about the ribbon she found at her place last night. Miss Honey tries to take the blame on herself, but Trunchbull shuts her off. Trunchbull forces Matilda to confess that she was the one who sneaked into her house. Matilda telekinetically writes a message on the chalkboard, pretending as the vengeful soul of Magnus, condemning Trunchbull for murdering him, and also that she must give the house and money back to Honey, who is the real inheritor of all the property. Trunchbull faints on the floor in terror. All of a sudden, she wakes up and attacks a student in her fury. Using her psychic powers, Matilda protects the boy. All the students spatter eggs and trash on Trunchbull, and she's forced to leave the school once for all. In her agony, Trunchbull gets into her car and disappears from their lives forever. Miss Honey moves back to her father's house, with Matilda visiting her on a regular basis. They both developed a deep connection with each other, almost as best friends. Matilda seems the happiest she's ever been in her entire life with Miss Honey. One day, Harry, Zinnia, and Michael come to pick Matilda up from Miss Honey's house as they're about to flee to Guam to run away from the police. Matilda refuses to go with them because she's happy with her new and improved life. She's satisfied with her school and doesn't want to leave Miss Honey, so she asks her parents to leave her with Miss Honey. Turns out Matilda has the adoption papers ready in her bag. Without much hesitation, the Wormwoods sign the adoption papers and let their only daughter stay with Miss Honey, who is more than happy to have Matilda stay with her. Matilda is the happiest she has ever been because she finally got the family she always wanted. Later, Miss Honey is made the principal of Cruncham Hall, and they have to expand and upgrade the school because no student wants to leave it. Matilda learns that life could be full of fun if you have nice and kind-hearted people around, so she lives it to the fullest. Both Matilda and Honey got what they desired most: a loving and caring family. Matilda was released in the United States on August 2nd, 1996, and has a rating of 7.0 on IMDb, and the budget of this movie was $36 million. However, at the box office, it was commercially unsuccessful, earning $33.5 million. And, well, that's it for the video. I hope you all liked this video. If yes, then make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Until then, take care, and I will see you in the next video.